尽量就继续上课。这个对这个Khenpo呢，肯定是会有一些就是精神上的支持的。非常谢谢你们哦，感恩大家新年快乐，万事如意。Happy New Year to you brothers and sisters. So without further delay, I shall invite Khenpo Rangdol. Khenpo La, we are all ready for your lesson.
Okay. Okay. Just a moment. It's okay, James. Everything okay?
Yes, everything is all right, Khenpo La. You may.
Okay. Okay. Hello, Dharma brothers and sisters. So I hope all of you had wonderful Lunar New Year celebrations along with your friends and the family members. So today on Friday, as usual, so again, we are going to start our regular program on Gongchig. So today is our 9th lesson. So we already crossed the half of the Gongchig Vajra statement. So without getting delayed, so I'm going to begin the actual the teachings for today, the program. Ranzim Jogong was a dance was a lame Java Guja. Yonde Wadan Jagge, all Lazo Gandu, Chongin, Namba Guja. Okay, so today, so we are going to begin from the 5th chapter about the mantra chapter. I think we completed at 17 Vajra statement, and today from the 18 Vajra statement. The others, the view is the people claim that the defects and the qualities of practicing arises exclusively according to the profound, the 15 instructions. So as we already talk as a view of Lord Jigten Sumgon, so he always emphasized the importance of the teachings of the Buddha. Of course, our own, the Guru and all the masters, the teachings are very precious and as well as very profound, but none of the teachings cannot be perfect and the higher than the Buddha's teachings of Sutra and Tantra. So therefore, the Jigten Sumgon always he rely on the teachings on the Buddha. As at the beginning of the Gongchig teachings, I mentioned all the Vajra statements of Lord Jigten Sumgon are combined with the 4 logic, which are the logic of Buddha's teachings and logic of on Guru's teachings. And one of the most important of among the 4 logic is that Jigten Sumgon always he share and he always he express through his experience. That is the most important. So without experience, if we just try to say something and it's become just like empty talk. So once we share through our own experience, so it gives some kind of the feeling and also the more profound meaning on particular the teachings. So therefore here also mentioned that many people claim and many people believe like that all the defeats such as any kind of like kind of negative kind of influences and also negative the qualities, or any kind of like the qualities such as like six perfection, the quality of six perfections, and then also all the qualities of bodhisattvas. I think we already mentioned that at the time of the bodhisattva, when they reach at the first bhumi, bodhisattva achieved 1,200 different kind of qualities. I think we already spoke a little bit. And then also at the time of the bodhisattva, when they achieve the Buddhahood, and then of course there are many qualities such as the qualities of 10 powers, and then quality of the 4 fearlessness, and then quality of 18 unmixed, the quality which is only exists among the Buddhas. So likewise, there are many different kind of qualities at the different stages. So therefore, many people are saying that all these kind of the qualities arises through the teachings of the profound teachings, or profound the pit instructions of the gurus. So therefore, some people, they also mention in their texts saying that, oh, this teaching is so profound and this teaching is so special. It's only given to me by my teachers, my guru. So it's so special. None of the Buddha talk about these teachings, and none of the great bodhisattvas or many Indian or Tibetan the scholars, they never taught such a teaching, only taught by my teacher, my guru. So therefore, this is so special. So the people also say like that. But the Jigten Songkhwan, he said that it ought not to be as the pit instructions, it ought to be as the Buddha's instructions. The reason why is that the Buddha is the only the person that who achieved such the final stage, and the Buddha is the only one that who obtained omniscient. There are actually the two types of we call it two types of omniscient. One you call that the knowledge of that the Buddha Buddha has such a realizations that he knows the nature of all the phenomena.
De la naturaleza de los fenómenos. Y otro tipo.
The Buddha has such a knowledge that he knew all the objects of existence. So none of the other bodhisattvas and arahat, they do have such a omniscience. So therefore, the Buddha is the only one that who are free from all the delusions, who are free from all the obscurations, and the Buddha has only all the knowledge of the final stage. So therefore, since the Buddha is the only one that who are the perfect one, so we have to rely on the teachings of Buddha. So Buddha cannot be lies. So I think I also mentioned last time in the teachings, during the teachings of first chapter, one occasion, so in the assembly, so Buddha, he showed his tongue to the assembly, and particularly Ananda, and the Buddha said that the person who has such a tongue, is it possible to tell a lie? So then Ananda said, of course not, because Buddha has the special kind of the qualities of the tongue, which we don't have. So because of the Buddha, he, right from the beginning, he totally abandoned the telling the lie of such a non-virtue. So therefore, Buddha, he has such a different qualities on his tongue. So since the Buddha is the only the person who reached at the highest level, and he is the only the person who has all kinds of omniscience. So therefore, so we have to depend on the Buddha's teachings, and we have to trust on Buddha's teachings, because there are no other than the Buddha like. So one of the, here I would like to quote one of the quotation from the Buddha's sutra in the Ranakuta Sutra. mentioned that Dharmakirti, he quoted that Buddha's teachings. Inconceivable ways, I have accomplished various lights. So in an inconceivable way, in a very limitless way, so Buddha, I have accomplished, the Buddha achieved all kinds of the lights. Basically, it's referring to the wisdoms. The lights is symbolic of wisdoms or knowledge. But because I have abandoned confusions, the reason why the Buddha obtained all sort of the lights of wisdom is because I have abandoned confusions. Buddha has no more confusions. He abandoned the obscurations of karma, the obscurations of epileptic emotions, obscurations of knowledge of object. Remember, there are 3 types of obscurations. So Buddha completely, all these 3 types of obscurations are being rejected, or he abandoned. So through the cause and conditions of virtuous actions, because of Buddha, he since right from the beginning, since from the beginning that Buddha, he cultivated bodhicitta, and since then, and Buddha always tried to practice the actions of virtues. So once we manage to the practice, or once we manage to implement all the virtues, and then the opposite of the virtue, which is non-virtue in other sort of epileptic emotions, will be abandoned accordingly, step by step. So therefore, it's we have to very much depend on the Buddha's instructions rather than our guru. So I'm sure even nowadays there are the many people, even among us also, we always sometimes we always the belief, and we have very much trust and devotion on our guru's teachings are more than the Buddha's teachings, which is sometimes I feel very strange. Here also I would like to say that sometimes also in the monasteries or nunneries or in our community, sometimes we celebrate our own gurus, like anniversaries, the death anniversary or the birth anniversary. So we have been celebrating more than the celebration of the Buddha's kind of the holy occasions. I have seen from my eyes most of the places, actually, the Sagya, Nyingma, Giluk, and Kagyupa. So when I saw also that sometimes they celebrate the gurus, the anniversaries are, and also they're making like thousands of offerings, and then also the monastery, entire of the monastery, they're fully decorated with different kind of the colors. And then the day of the Buddha's celebration, they do, but it's not that much as the Guru's celebrations, which is, I feel like, very pretty. Here in Dehradun, actually, I set up the Buddhist community. We call it Dun Buddhist Committee. I found that one in the year of 2015. So before that, actually, we don't celebrate the Buddha's kind of occasion in a very larger way. And since 2015, so we have been celebrating publicly the Buddha's the special occasion, which is the Elatin Mind Day on the 15th of 4th month of lunar calendar. So therefore, it is very important that we have to, sometimes also we think that the Guru's teachings are more precious than the Buddha's teachings. So which is, I think, is not really correct. So we have to trust on Buddha's teachings more. Okay. So now the Vajra statement, the 19 is, the people claimed that the fullest samadhi is the cause of the 3 kayas. Okay, the people three samadhi, the fullest 3 samadhis. Samadhi is, of course, as like meditation whatsoever. So there are 3 types of the samadhis, the formless samadhi. There are the samadhi of the bliss, samadhi of luminosity, or we can say the samadhi of clarity, and samadhi of non-thoughts, that where we have no thoughts, no conceptual thoughts arising anymore. So these three are the three different kinds of samadhi. So many people, they believe that these three samadhis are the cause of the three kayas. That through the cause of the samadhi, and one can achieve through the samadhi of the bliss, so one can achieve sambhogakaya, and through the samadhi of non-thoughts will arise dharmakaya, and through the samadhi of luminosity will arise the nirmanakaya. So therefore, the many people also, they believe like that way, and also sometimes they also maybe some master also might be give such an introduction about these three samadhi as a cause of the three kayas. And also the Gongchig, another commentary of Gongchig, which composed by one of the close disciple of Jiten Sumgon, the Changa Sharab Jungne, he also mentioned in the commentary is, so when the person have the experience of the bliss, the samadhi of bliss, the person will get such a experience or such a feeling. Even somebody cut their limbs through knives, the person will have no feeling of pain or suffering, because he or she is in such a state of the bliss of samadhi. And also he mentioned that the person who are experiencing the samadhi of luminosity is the same thing like that, like in the when we light on in the dark room, and because of the light, there's no more darkness inside of the room because full of light. So similar to that way, so the person, when they achieve such a samadhi of luminosity, so there's no darkness everywhere, outside or inside, there's no hindrances. So everywhere he or she can see as a light, similar to that, the light is rising into the empty house. And then also the person who arises the samadhi of non-thoughts. So in his or her mental continuum, so there's no more arising any kinds of the thoughts will not arise. So this is what the person will experience. So some people believe that the formless samadhi means like without grasping, when the person is experiencing the samadhi of bliss, so without having any attachment. Without attachment, somebody are having the samadhi of bliss, so that is called the formless samadhi. And then also the person who are experiencing the luminosity and without kind of like grasping, then it calls the formless samadhi of luminosity. And then without the thoughts of fabricating, so our mind, without having any kind of like fabrications, that kind of thought we call is formless, the samadhi of the no thoughts one. But the Jiten Sumgon, he said that the three formless samadhis are a cause of three samsaric realms. So Jiten Sumgon said that these three, the formless samadhi, which already mentioned, the bliss and luminosity and the no thoughts, are those three samadhi are those three are the not cause of the three kayas, but those three are the cause of the three samsaric realms. That means the samadhi of the bliss, the person will born into the realms of desire realm, and then samadhi of the luminosity, the person will reborn into the realm of form, and then through the samadhi of the no thoughts, the person will reborn into the realm of formless. So there are three types of realms: desire realm, form, and then formless realm. So we call Tibetan Dokhampa is desire realm, and then Zukhampa is the form realms, and then Zumekampa, which is the formless realm. So there are three types of realms. But Jiten Songgon, he said that these three, the samadhi are three samadhis are the not cause of the three, the kayas, but it's only the cause of the samsaric three realms. The reason why Jiten Songgon he's saying is that, so it is very important that we have to know the differences of the experience and realizations. They are a big difference. If we cannot combine the experience through the realizations, and then it's become just kind of like cause of the ordinary samsaric realms. So if that kind of like experience of the samadhi of the bliss or luminosity or no thoughts one, if we manage to combine with our inner realizations, and then that is going to be the perfect one. But here also I would like to quote the Phagmo Duba. He said that, it is very nice, the quotation. The Phagmo Duba, he said that, having abandoned attachment to the bliss and luminosity, having abandoned, you see, so we have to abandon the attachment to the bliss and also attachment to the luminosity. You should practice the realizations of the mind at the Buddha. You see, so it's clearly mentioned that without attachment, and we have to abandon the attachment to the bliss and luminosity. So you should practice of the realizations of the minds of the Buddha. So that means the realization is very important. So therefore, according to the Tantrayana, so I mentioned also earlier time also, it will also mention in the 6th chapter, particularly in the practice of Tantrayana, the guru are very important. So without root guru, so sometimes also we sidestep the path of the Tantrayana, and also we do need to have a root guru who can introduce that this is experience and this is realizations, and you should not get stuck on that particular experiences. So without having guidance from our guru, and sometimes also the people stuck there on having a little bit of experiences, they feel, oh, now I achieved the final stage of the samadhi, or maybe final stage of the Buddhahood. And sometimes the people, they just stuck there and they cannot move forward their inner practices. So that's very important. So here also Dharmakirti also, he mentioned that one must understand that the realizations attained through the purified experience is very different from the realizations that one first experienced and then lose again. You see, he said that. So the experience is, once we experience of the samadhi, of the bliss and luminosity and non-thought, that can be, that kind of experience will be just for temporary, it's not the permanent one. That can be gained, and also after sometimes you get lost from that kind of experience. If that kind of experience is not combined with our inner realizations. So if that kind of like samadhi are combined with our the wisdom or inner realizations, and then it become the perfect one. So therefore, it is the important thing here to understand is that, so one should not mix up between experience and realizations. So we have to make these two things are different, separate one. So the experience of like bliss and luminosity and no thought can be arise among the ordinary meditator, ordinary practitioner can be arise, but having inner realizations is so difficult. So that is what Jigten Sumgon he mean to say this the meaning. I hope you understand clearly. Okay, now the next one is Vajra statement, the 20. At the Nirmana Kaya, the Sambhoga Kaya, and so on at the 24 places and so on are explained to be the three different the kayas. So since now here we are talking about the earliest, the Vajra statement mentioned that from the three samadhis will arise these three the kayas, which is Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, and Nirmanakaya. So, and it also is related to the previous Vajra statement. So some people believe that the Nirmanakaya and then Sambhogakaya and then also the so on are on at the 24 places according to the according to the Chakra Sambhava. So there are the secret the places of the Chakra Sambhava. There are 24 the secret places of the Chakra Sambhava is mentioned in the Chakra Sambhava text. So therefore, the people saying that Nirmanakaya and Sambhogakaya and Dharmakaya are explained in the different ways, different characteristics, different places, different qualities, different look like, different images. And so therefore, these three kayas are different. So therefore, some people say that these three kayas are totally different kayas. Each of the kayas are not interconnected. And some also say that we ordinary people, we could only see the kaya of Nirmanakaya. We have no ability to see the Sambhogakaya. And then some say like that the Sambhogakaya is only can be seen by the Bodhisattvas, but not we ordinary people. And Dharmakaya only can be seen by the practitioner when they reach at the final stage. So therefore, because of these three different places, different characteristics, different classifications, so these three kayas are different. But the Jigten Sumgon, he said that each of the three bodies has the characteristic of the all trees. It is very important. This also is already mentioned the earlier Vajra statement that right from the beginning that the body is already embodiment of 5 family Buddhas. Remember, we already talked about that one. So therefore, according to the Tantrayana, so right from the beginning, that the three kaya are already exist on our body. Example, our body is the symbolic of the kind of Nirmanakaya, and our speech is Sambhogakaya, and our heart or mind is Dharmakaya. So right from the beginning, so we already have such a potential or seat of the three kayas. So through the different methods or different kind of instructions or the empowerment, and that also can be introduced through by the Vajra master that we already have the three kayas right from the beginning. So therefore, the Jigten Sumgon, his view is that the three kayas are not different right from the beginning. The Nirmanakaya also has Dharmakaya and Sambhogakaya. And Sambhogakaya also has, Sambhogakaya is also embodiment of Nirmanakaya and Dharmakaya. Dharmakaya is also embodiment of Nirmanakaya and Sambhogakaya. So therefore, each of the three bodies has the natural characteristic of all the three. So how it's here, Dharmakirti also he explained here. It is very important to understand how these three the bodies are naturally endowed with all these three. The highest characteristic is here is mentioned that the aspect of emptiness is the Dharmakaya. Aspect of emptiness of the Nirmanakaya or Sambhogakaya or whatsoever are the embodiment of the Dharmakaya. And then also mentioned that, and then also here mentioned that the aspect of the luminosity, the aspect of the luminosity and the aspect of the what do you call it, the emptiness, which is kind of like the union one. So that is the Sambhogakaya. And similar to that way, within the Sambhogakaya, so again, the characteristic of the Nirmanakaya and the Sambhogakaya is also exists there. So this is also very important to know that. So right from the beginning, these three things are not really too different. Of course, in the ultimate way, so none of the kayas are not exist truly. So when we have to talk about in the level of conventional way, in the level of relative truth way, of course, there exist the three kayas, and each of the kayas are actually, each of the kaya are embodiment of the others, the two. That's also important. In the Sutra of Dhamman Sutra, I guess, the Dhamman Sutra also mentioned that in the ultimately, so no one can see me. Buddha said, no one can see me, because ultimately, so we cannot pinpoint saying that this is the Buddha, because Dharmakaya has no form. Because we can't see our heart, we can't see our mind. So similar to that way, we can't see the Buddha. And also Milarepa also mentioned that in the relative truth way, everything exists. Buddha is there, the fields are there, Bodhisattva are there, paths are there, sentient beings are there. In the ultimately, so Milarepa said there is no Buddha, there's no path, there's no obstacle, there are no illusions. So in the ultimate reality stage, so there's nothing exists. So this is also very important, that we have to know that in ultimately there's nothing exists, but in the relative truth way, conventional way, so all these three kayas are actually totally, I mean, each other interconnected, and then also each of the qualities of the kayas are endowed with each other. That is also important to know. Okay, now the 21st, the Vajra statement is, the people claim that since mantra is the intention of Vajradhara, the intention of the sage, namely Vinaya, is not necessary. Oh, this is very important again. Sorry. This is also very important to know, is that because many people say that, oh, we are practitioners of Tantrayana, so we do not need the Vinaya. We do not need to follow all the disciplines that Buddha mentioned in the Vinaya. So therefore, many of the tantric practitioners, they think that we allow to consume alcohol, we allow to marry with anyone, and then also we allow to, I mean, you see, we allow to do anything according to Tantra. We allow to eat meat, we allow to drink alcohol. So therefore, many kind of all the tantric practitioners, they do believe and they are consuming like that, as mentioned in the Tantrayana. So therefore, according to the Tantrayana, we no need to practice the rules of the Vinaya. Yeah, people claim that since mantra is the intention of Vajradhara, because we have to achieve the final stage of the Vajradhara, and we no need to follow the Buddha Shakyamuni, because Shakyamuni is in the way of traditional way of the Sutra way, and Vajradhara is the Tantra way. So we need to achieve the Vajradhara. So we are not the followers of the Buddha Shakyamuni. So therefore, we no necessary to practice the rules of Vinaya. So we allow to do everything. Actually, it's not allowed, but then some people, they also explain in the different way, and as a tip, they do all sort of things. I also sometimes, I think some times ago, actually, when I used to visit in the West, So we do often we make a sok offering, fish sok offering during the Guru Yoga or any kind of the sadhana practices. And then everyone think that this is a good opportunity to drink alcohol and good opportunity to eat meat. And everyone bring bottles of alcohol and also a piece of meat. And then also I told them I think it's not really right to drink alcohol. Maybe we, as we are kind of believing that I'm consuming the substance of samaya, maybe we can just we can drink a little bit of alcohol, maybe few drops, or maybe just small piece of meat. That might be okay, because we just have because the interdependent is also important. We have to have the substance of samaya. That's also important. We call it samaya tamsikidze, substance of samaya. Samaya is also very important according to the Tantrayana, and that kind of like substance are very important. But we should not take this as a good opportunity and taking advantage. We should not drink lots of until we get fully drunk, so therefore, sometimes also we misuse the Tantra Yana. Of course, until and unless, if you are really authentic, the practitioners of the Tantra Yana, and that the person who has the capable to transform. Example, there are 3 types of mantra like Ha Ho Shri, example, Just by reciting the mantra of Ha Ho Shri, if one can transform the alcohol, when we recite the Ha, and the one can transform the color of the alcohol by reciting Ha Ho, and then the energy of the alcohol, and then Ha Ho Shri, the taste of the alcohol. Just by reciting the 3 types of mantra, if one can have ability to transform the alcohol into nectar, then of course we are consuming nectar. So nectar, the Buddha never said that you are not allowed to drink alcohol. Alcohol never said that you are not allowed to drink nectar. Nectar is something ambrosia. So once you drink the ambrosia or nectar, that's like a medicine. So medicine which is good for our the body, and as well as is good for our health. So similar to that way, so if he or she has such a the ability to transform, then it's, of course, is allowed. Other than that, so I think according to Tantra Yana also, we have to follow the all sort of disciplines. So Jigten Sumgon, he said that in mantra, disciplines conduct is indispensable. Indispensable, So without these rules and without disciplines, then one cannot achieve all the qualities of this the Tantra Yana. Because also remember that earlier we already talked about that without Vinaya or Pratya Moksha, one cannot arise the Bodhisattva vows. Without Bodhisattva vow, one cannot arise the Tantra Yana vows. These 3 are very much depending on each other. So like a foundation, without the first floor, we cannot build the second floor. Without second floor, we cannot build the third floor. Similar to that way, without other 2 vows, one cannot achieve directly the Tantra vows. Other 2 are very necessary as a foundation base. So therefore, so one should not take all this as excuses, saying that I'm a practitioner of, I'm sure at the time of Jigten Sumgon time, maybe there must be many, the tantric master, they are misusing the Tantra Yana practices, saying that they just do all sort of things. So, yeah. But here is also one quotation. I would like to read that quotation. The Tantra is said that, okay, I just explain. Here said that the mantra householder abandoned the sign and rituals, but all the remaining aspects are to be practiced. It's mentioned like that, in the Tantra teaching said that only the sign and rituals. Example, householder means that even householder, all the lay people who are practicing the Tantra Yana, apart from the rituals and signs is meaning like this kind of Dharma robes. Example, like as a monk or non-dharma robes that you're not allowed to wear. This is the sign of the monk or nun. And then also in a sense of rituals means you are not allowed to do this kind of like summer retreat, or every monthly, the monks and nuns, they do have the practice of, we call it sojong, which is like a special, the purification ceremony. This kind of like only the rituals and sign are not allowed to do. Other than that, but all the remaining aspects are to practice. So that means you have to practice all remaining practice of the Vinaya has to be practiced according to Tantrayana. So remember in the chapter also mentioned that all the in the case of 3 vows and the 10 non-virtue are same as abandoned. None of the vows are allowed to practice the 10 non-virtue. Is exactly the same. So therefore, according to Tantrayana also, the disciplines are actually very important. I think this is also is quite easy to understand, but difficult to follow, I guess. Now the next, the Vajra statement is, it is taught that the mantra is accomplished by practicing desire. Actually, all this, the Vajra statements are very much related to each other. So you can see. So now, since we already talked about the previous Vajra statement that the disciplines are very important in the Tantrayana, and related to that one, so some people they said, oh, according to the Tantrayana, so we have to practice the desire. So one should not abandon the pleasure of object. Example like form and taste and smell and all this kind of like the external, the pleasures of the objects are one should not abandon, and desires also one should not abandon. So therefore, of course, according to the Tantrayana, so I mean the traditional way, actually there are actually the many deities in the Dharma protector, the temple you might see. There are some like the union, the statues, example like Chagrasambhava statue, the Chagrasambhava, the Hiruka, and then also the concept like Vajra Yogini, like that kind of the union, the statue we can see in the various temples. But it does not mean that according to the Tantrayana you allow to marry in the physically. It is just giving us example that you have to practice the method and the wisdoms. So according to Tantrayana, so without having these two kind of the tools, which is the tap is method, sharab is wisdom. We call it the tap sharab. So I think I already explained the last time, any kind of the tantra, the ritual performance, we have to hold the vajra and bell. The vajra is symbolic of method, and then bell is symbolic of wisdom. And then even when we see the statues such as like union statue, like with the concept, it does not mean that physically you have to marry with any kind of like Tantrayana practitioner. It doesn't mean that you have to have such a like the wife or concept or dakini, what sometimes we call very nice words, saying she is my dakini or something. So it doesn't mean like that, but important thing is that we have to practice any kind of the parts of the Tantrayana through the methods and the wisdom. That is very important inner meaning. It is taught that the mantra is accomplished by the practicing desire. So therefore some people say, oh, the desire is one should not abandon according to the Tantrayana. So we in the Tantra, desire is also actually have to practice. So therefore we have to allow married, and we have to consume all this kind of any kind of like pleasure or object we allow to consume, and we allow to wear. You see, according to Tantrayana, we do see that many kind of the statue has many different kind of ornaments, earrings, and also what I call the bracelets, different kind of necklaces are there. So therefore, many Napas, they are wearing different kind of ornaments, saying that the Tantra is accomplished by desire. But Jigten Sangwa, he said that in addition to teachings that Sutra and Mantra are both disrupted by desire. He maintained that they are one. There's no excuses. Either sutra or mantra or tantra yana, both disrupted by the desire. According to sutra also, one have to abandon the desire. And according to the tantra yana or mantra yana, also have to desire, we have to also abandon the desire. Remember earlier Vajra's statement also mentioned that I think the Tibetan word is Yekap Yenam. That's one of the very important teachings from the Jigten Songkhon. Yekap means all the negative karma or any kind of like negative things are right from the beginning Buddha already prohibited. The prohibited is prohibited right from the beginning, and then permissible is which is enam. The permissible are the right from the beginning is already permitted to do. So Buddha never said that first he prohibited and then later on he said, oh, you allowed to do. And first Buddha permitted to do something and later on he said is not allowed to do. Buddha never does such a thing. I think we already mentioned these things in the last Vajra statements. So therefore, according to the Tantra Yana or Sutra Yana, so desire is actually very important that one have to abandon. So of course, there are, in the case of Tantra Yana, some kind of like transformation. So example, like 5 epileptic emotions, we have to transform into the 5 wisdoms. These things are mentioned there. So in that case, it doesn't mean that you have to have desire, you have to have anger. It doesn't mean like that. We have to recognize the nature of the desire as a wisdom. We have to understand, or we have to recognize the nature of the anger is the wisdom. So therefore, there are 5 Deni Buddhas, and there are 5 epileptic emotions. Therefore, there are 5 kayas. So these are kind of very much related. The 5 epileptic emotions are, if somebody recognizes, so these 5 epileptic emotions are embodiment of 5 kayas or 5 wisdoms. Okay, so now the next Vajra statement is, all these are actually very much related to each the Vajra statements. The people claim that the mantra is the path where one transforms the ground, the afflictions consisting of the 3 poisons. Yeah. And Jigten Songkhon, he said, there is no occasion when through mantra a non-virtue turns into virtues. So some people say that, oh, according to the Tantra Yana, so the non-virtue can be transformed into virtue. And then epileptic emotions are actually can be transformed into the wisdom. Some people say like that. So therefore, actually, according to the Tantra Yana, one no need to abandon the obscurations. One no need to abandon the negative karma. So it's very easy. We can just transform them. It's very easy to say, but it's so people claim that the mantra is the path where one transforms the ground. So the best, you see, it's very important to know that it's from the best, right from the beginning, from the best, which is already exists, the 5 epileptic emotions are, we can just transform into the 5 wisdoms or 5 the Buddhas. So, but Jigten Songkhon said that there's no occasion through the mantra non-virtue into virtue. So it's same as like the last Vajra statement also mentioned. Jigten Songkhon very clearly mentioned that white is white, black is black. So positive karma is positive, negative karma is negative. Negative karma cannot be to transform as a positive karma. The positive karma cannot be transformed as a negative karma. So these things are the fundamental existings. So even the Buddha in Bodhisattva cannot transform these things. Even the Buddha in Bodhisattva also need to follow the law of the karma. The law of the karma is one of the most powerful. You know? So just like example, just small example. Sometimes also even in India, actually, we see quite often, sometimes also small plants are growing from the wall, you know. Sometimes also when we plant some seeds on the field, sometimes it's not growing because there's a cause and conditions are not exist there. If the cause and conditions are not completely exist there, even we wish to grow, but it's never growing. If the cause and condition is there, even we wish not to grow something, it will grow spontaneously. Therefore, you know, sometimes even we plant plantations, and even it's very difficult to grow. Here in India, especially during the monsoon time, because of the humidity, sometimes also different kind of like plants, especially this Bodhi tree, you know, here in India, you might have seen different places, the Bodhi trees are growing from the wall. If there are some kind of like small cracks on our wall and the Bodhi tree is growing, many places I saw. This is the cause and condition are very powerful. So the law of the karma, law of the cause and condition, even cannot be transferred, cannot be transformed, cannot be changed by the Buddha also. So we just have to see. So therefore, the Nagarjuna, he said, it is very important quotation. I always like this quotation. Samsara and nirvana do not exist as two, isn't it? The samsara and nirvana do not exist as two. There's no differences. The knowing the nature of samsara is called nirvana. Isn't it how nice? The knowing the nature of samsara. If one knows the nature of samsara, that is the nirvana. So we no need to go to search for nirvana. So our Khenchen Gongchig Rinpoche, actually he wrote one kind of like pit instructions about the samsara and nirvana. He said that is the samsara and nirvana is just like our front and back of like hand. Like if we show like this is the samsara, and if you do like this is the nirvana. So we no need to go somewhere to search for the nirvana is always there. And then also the Tilopa. So when Tilopa gave the pit instructions to Naropa, he said very clearly, I have nothing to say, I have nothing to show you. You have to see your own nature of mind by yourself. I cannot show you, I cannot show the ultimate, the reality, the nature one. So you have to see by yourself. It is beyond expressions, beyond our thoughts. So you have to search by yourself, and you have to know the nature of mind by yourself. So even the Buddha, the past Buddha, future Buddha, present Buddha, none of the Buddha can express saying that this is the reality of the nature of mind. I can't remember the sutra name, but one of the sutra also mentioned that the nature of ultimate is not seen by previous Buddha, not the present Buddha, and also not the future Buddha also will not see the nature of ultimate, the meaning. So that also mentioned. So therefore, it is also very important that the mantra, according to mantra, also the non-virtue cannot be transformed into as a virtue. So therefore, sometimes also they just misuse, you know, saying that, oh, we are the tantra, we are the practitioner of tantra yana, oh, we can do anything. So one should not believe like that way. So we have to just have to follow as the Buddha's the teachings. Okay, now the 24th, the Vajra statement is, the people claim that the mantra is such that non-virtue become virtue, since mantra is performed by those who are skilled in a means. Is again just similar meaning, is not something very different. The people claim that mantra is such that non-virtue become virtue. Reason why is saying that in the Tantra also mentioned that some occasion. Remember, we already talked about the positions, the teachings, definite teachings, and indefinite teachings, intentional one, non-intentional one. We already spoke about these 6 positions. And one of the teachings also mentioned that, according to Tantrayana, that you have to kill sentient beings, you have to tell lie, and then also you have to steal something. So it's also mentioned. So therefore, some people say that, oh, according to Tantrayana also is mentioned that allowed to kill, allowed to steal, allowed to telling lie. So therefore, the mantra is such that non-virtue become virtue, since mantra is performed by those who are skilled in means. They are very skilled in means. They are very much kind of like using the skills, and they are using their methods. So therefore, it's allowed to practice non-virtue, because they can also can be transformed as a virtue. But someone, he said that what is the virtue in the Vinaya is also virtue in the mantra, and what is non-virtue is non-virtue. It's the same, you know. Same is, I already mentioned, black is black, white is white. So, and also the same, all the 3 vows, which is Vinaya, and then also Bodhisattva vow and Tantrayana vows, all these, the 10 different types of non-virtue are exactly same as that we have to abandon. There's no such occasion that some occasion they allow to practice non-virtue. That Buddha never mentioned. Remember that one of the very important the quotation or teachings of the Buddha is that he said that any kind of non-virtue we have to abandon completely. Any kind of virtue we have to the practice. So this is my essence of the Buddha's teachings. He mentioned very clearly. So here, Dharmakirti also, he quote one of the teachings, the reason why in the Tantrayana mentioned that you have to kill, you have to lie, and you have to steal. The meaning is here, he said that to steal refers to cultivating the resolve for awakening. The meaning of that you have to steal, meaning is, it does not mean that according to Tantrayana, you have to steal somebody property, somebody money or gold or silver. It doesn't mean that you have to steal in the real way. The meaning is that you have to steal means you have to steal the bodhicitta. You have to generate, you have to cultivate the genuine, the bodhicitta. So that's the word mean to say. And then also you have to lie means to teach the relative truth is to tell lie. You see, you have to tell the relative truth. Of course, there's nothing to tell in the ultimate way, but in the relative truth way, everything exists. There are like 16 emptiness are there, and there are 12 interdependence are there. All sort of like the Buddha's teachings that exist in the conventional way, in the relative truth way. So therefore, the telling the lie means to teach the relative truth is the telling lies. That's what the meaning of that telling lie. So, and then also is mentioned in the Tantrayana that, and then also you have to kill means you have to kill your ignorance. So you have to marry with the woman. It means that you have to practice the 4 Dharmic stage, which is the 4 immeasurable. It doesn't mean that you have to marry with a certain women. The meaning is that you have to practice the loving kindness and compassion and etc. So these are something very important that one should not misuse the Tantrayana, thinking that, oh, this is a great opportunity that we allow to do everything. So one should not take this kind of advantage by excusing the Dharma. Okay. Now the next Vajra statement, the 25th, is afflictions are maintained to be the Buddha's family and line. All these are same actually. Yeah, some people said afflictions, which are like afflictions mean ignorance, anger, attachment, jealousy, pride. There are actually the main 5 principles. Afflictions are people saying that, oh, these are the kind of the Buddha's families. These are the Buddha's line. The line means actually their legacy or their clan. These 5 afflictive emotions or 3 poisonous or whatsoever. These are the actually the Buddha's families. So one should not abandon. So we have to keep those afflictions. Some people say like that. but Jiten Sangman, he said that the result of purifying the mental affliction is the Sugatahood. The Jiten Sangman, he said that, of course, in the Tantra Yana also mentioned that one should not abandon the 5 affliction, rather we have to transform them into 5 wisdom. It does mention in the Tantra Yana, but it doesn't mean that is the real afflictions are it doesn't mean the real afflictions are the Buddha's family. It doesn't mean like that. The meaning is that we have to just remove the temporary obscurations. Example like the clouds, when we just remove the clouds and then the sun or moon will appear by its nature. There are some kind of just temporary defilements, temporary obscurations. Those things we have to purify. Those things we have to abandon. So then once we purifying this mental affliction, and then we will see the Sugatahood, we will reach the Buddhahood. So that's very important. So here, according to actually the Tantra, we said that Tibetan we call, this is very important, the 3 types. First I will say in Tibetan, Jangshi, Jongche, Jongde, there are 3 things. In the Tantra Yana, Jangshi means the basis of purifications. So basis or ground, you can say also ground or basis of purification, this will be called Jangshi, which to be abandoned. Example, our ordinary 5 skandha, like 5 hips, is the Jangshi. That means the basis of purification. That's very important to know. This is the basis. And then Jongche means the process of the purification, or tools of the purifications, or methods of the purification. That is we call is the Jongche. By the certain process or by the certain tools or we have to implement that to be abandoned. That's what we call the process, which is Jongche. And then finally, once we implement those methods or the process to abandon the temporary defilements, and then we will achieve the final one is Jangde, means the result of purification. Then we will achieve the result of purification. These 3 things are very important in the Tantra Yana practice. Basis of purification, and process of purification, and the result of purification. These things are very important. So we cannot say that is the basis of purification is the Buddha. We cannot say like that. So if we say like that, and of course we are actually embodiment of the 5 Dhyani Buddha right from the beginning, but we cannot say I'm a 5 family Buddha. So we are still ordinary beings, But of course, by its nature, we do have such a potential to be achieved. But in order to do so, we have to implement all the process, and then also we have to abandon the temporary defilement. Then we can reach the result of purification. These things are very important. Yeah, these 3, please keep it. This 3 things are very important in the Tantra Yana way, and especially in the Tantra Yana way, when we come into the second step, that first one is, as I mentioned, the basis of purification, and the second one is that the second one is very important. The process of purification is then we call is like 2 stage, which is the generation stage and completion stage. According to Tantra Yana, we have to practice the generation stage. We have to visualize certain things, and then at the end also we have to practice the completion stage. So this kind of like the 2 stages are the process of the purifications. So without having proper practice of these things, and then we cannot say directly that all the afflictions are the Buddha's family. We cannot say like that. Okay, that's much. So now the 26 Vajra statements are: people claim that the activities of destructive rites of mantra will not be evil, and that they are permitted because they turn into virtue. Is again the same thing. Some people think that, okay, apart from the merely demonstrating the magical powers of mantras, destructive rites are not permitted. Is very, again, I think in nowadays there is not much this kind of things, but the earlier time, I think there are actually sort of many, they do some kind of like competition between those high realization masters. They show different kind of like the miracles power to defeat their lineage, in order to defeat their lineage, other lineage, and in order to protect their lineage. So earlier time, there are many kind of like history that they show kind of different kind of like miracle powers. Even actually like, which I'm teaching on this, the commentary that Dharmakirti, the first reincarnation of His Holiness Digum Kyamgon Chungsang, his name is Dharmakirti, he was really, really powerful, you know. So he always carry one Vajra Kilaya, you know, the Vajra Kilaya, that's kind of Vajra in his, along with him. And then he always show many kind of like miracle powers. And also it says that in his secret life story of Dharmakirti also mentioned that he has because he is very, the powerful, the practitioner of Yamantaka, Shinje, you know, Yamantaka. So he has one mill, you know, the water, you know, the mill means that where we ground it, I think it's called mill, where we ground it like, when we put like barley or wheat and then ground it in the mill, isn't it? I think in mill. So Dharmakirti also, he used to have the mill, it's called the Yamantaka mill. And then if he want to kill somebody, you just write the name of the enemy, and if you put in that mill, and then the person, he or she will die immediately on the spot. That kind of like the powerful that he has the ability to show. Maybe on the certain occasion, they show this kind of like the miracle powers. Actually, according to the Tantra Yana, there are 4 activities. In order to practice the Tantra Yana authentic way, and then also they have to have the 4 activities. The first one is we call the peaceful activities. Second one is we call that increasing activities. Peace is jiva. We call peace is jiva. Second one is increasing one is geba. We call it increasing life, increasing prosperity whatsoever. And then the third activities is the increase the activities of power. We call wang. In order to defeat other enemy, then sometimes we need to show the power. And then the fourth activity is we call it wrathful one. Wrathful, very like, you know, like certain deities, they are showing very scary face and very kind of like horrifying, you know, those kind of things we call is the wrathful activities. And then similar to that way in the Tantra Yana also there are, for the purpose for different activity, there are actually the 4 different kind of fire puja, you know, peaceful fire puja, increasing fire puja, powerful fire puja, and then also wrathful fire puja. And then to perform this 4 different kind of fire puja, there are actually 4 different types of mandala. You know, when we make a fire puja, the peaceful mandala is supposed to be round shape. And then the increasing fire puja, the mandala shape is supposed to be the square one, you know. And then the fire puja for the power is the mandala, the shape should be like a half moon. You know, the half moon is like something half moon. And then the wrathful for the wrathful activities, to fulfill the wrathful activities, and then the mandala is also like triangle, you know, like that way, triangle one. So therefore, for the different purpose or activities, there are 4 different mandalas, 4 different fire puja, 4 different activities. But so therefore, some people say that, oh, if there are such an enemy, there are actually according to Tantra Yana, we call it like the person who complete 10 kind of 10 kind of like the field, we call it field. 10 who completed 10 field, the person that who harm to the 3 jewels, who harm to the guru, who destroy the Buddha's teachings, who has no compassion and loving to the sentient beings, who always talks against about bodhisattva, like that kind of, there are actually the 10 different kind of like bad qualities. So the person who has this, endowed with these 10, the bad qualities, and then we call this is the real, the enemy of the Buddha's teachings, and then we can take their life. So in the some teachings of the Tantrayana also mentioned, I'm sure many of you might have seen in the monastery that they do sometimes, like on the occasion of this Lama dance performance. Of course, traditionally when they perform the Lama dance, when they're wearing the different marks, actually, of course, they have to generate themselves also as an embodiment of deities. And then also during that time, might you have seen that they make a certain occasion, when they do this, the Lama dances, they make a kind of shape of one enemy they made out of like tsampa or draw. And then also during the Lama dance performance with the certain mantras, with the certain performance, they cut the body of that enemy. That's the kind of like just symbolic that killing the enemy of the Buddha's teachings. Okay, so some people say that according to Tantrayana, it is very permitted that to kill any kind of enemies that who harmful for the Buddha's teachings. But the Jigten Sumgon, his view is that apart from merely demonstrating, means just to show, just to threaten them, just to make scare them, just to show, just to demonstrating the magical power. Apart from that, one's not allowed to show real the power of that kind of like wrathful activity, really killing others. One not allowed to do. Example like that sometimes the parents also need to show the scary face in order to make their kids to scare them. But of course, one not allowed to kill them. So similar to that way, according to Tantrayana, also just to show just to demonstrating the magical power, but one not allowed to permit it to real killing others. So once you kill, that's again is the wrong doing things. Okay, so that is clear. So now, the 27. How is 27? Okay, now 27 is the people claim that the Vajra hell is worse than the other hells. Some people say that the Vajra hell is the worse than other. Usually there are actually 18 hells according to the Sutra, and I'm sure all of you know the 8 hot hell, 8 cold hell, and then 1 momentary hell, and then neighboring hell. Altogether there are 18 hells. Then some say that the Vajra hell is the worst. There are more suffering than the other 18 hells. So the Vajra hell is the different. But the Jigten Sumgon, he said that the Vajra hell is not something different from the others hell. He just, Jigten Sumgon said, he just only give the name of the Vajra. As we mentioned earlier, according to Tantrayana, we always have to use as a Vajra offering, Vajra master, Vajra students, Vajra offering, anything, any kind of activity we have to use as a Vajra. So that I think we already covered earlier time the meaning of Vajra. So the Vajra hell is Avijchi hell. This is the name of, I think in Sanskrit. Is that kind of is not something different than others. Just is exactly same. Even somebody make negative karma that need to go into hell. Even the person who are practicing the Tantrayana, if he break their samaya, it need to go to the same place. There's no different places as a hell. Only the name of the hell is given differently as a Vajra hell. Okay, now the last Vajra statement from the 5th chapter is that people claim that one does not emerge from Vajra hell until space disintegrates. And Jiten Sumgun say, if the Vajra master level of cognition is high, he pulls up his disciples. Again, this is quite interesting. So some people say that we better to not to break the samaya. The important thing is that, according to Tantra Yana, authentic way is that Vajra master have to analyze on Vajra disciples before they start teachings at least 3 years. And then also Vajra students also need to examine on the master at least for 3 years. That's mentioned. Otherwise, without examining on each other, Lama Mata Yangchongda, Tibetans say, without examining of Guru, if you just start receiving teachings or maybe especially the highest Tantra initiations, and then if you break your Samaya later on, that is something that you are jumping from the cliffs. Then what will happen once you're jumping from the cliffs, you will die. You know? And then without examining on the disciples, if Vajra master just confer any kind of initiations, there is something that you are consuming the poison one. If you consume the poisonous things, then again will die. So therefore, it is very important, according to Tantra Yana, we have to analyze. So therefore, some people say that, oh, we better not to break the Samaya. Once we break the Samaya, then you have to stay in the hell until and unless the space is disappear. You have to be there for endless way. But the Jiten Sumgun, he said that if the Vajra master level of the cognition is high, of course, it is very important that one should not lose their Samaya. We better to keep this Samaya. Once we receive together initiations or empowerment from certain gurus, then since we become a Dharma brothers and sisters, Vajra brother and Vajra sister we call, of course, one should not break the Samaya, but somehow due to some cause and conditions, if you break your Samaya, and then there are actually the possibility is that if the Vajra master, his or her cognition is high, if the Vajra master has the capable one, then he can pull up his disciples from the hell with his power. So there are actually the many stories, there are actually in the earlier time, the Vajra master, the name of the Denpak, so he pulled up the Tharpa Napo, one of the disciples that who committed all this sort of bad karmas, and he fall into the hells with the power of the Denpak. So he pull up the Tharpa Napo from the hell. And similar to that way, also remember that one of the Buddha's close disciple, Lekpe Karma, his name is Lekpe Karma. He served for Buddha 24 years. After that, he wrong view on Buddha, and he born into hell. And with the help of Buddha, and also he managed to pull up. So similar to that way, there are many kind of the stories that in the Tantra Yana. So here, interesting, one of the Kadampa master, the Geshe Podowa. So he mentioned that, he said that here, wrongdoing, like standing, okay, he said that, I just like to read, Geshe Podowa, who taught that one must confess to whichever of the 3 jewels one has committed the wrongdoing, like standing up supported by the earth upon which one has fallen. Example, if you fall on earth, in order to stand up you have to support to the earth where you fall down, and then you have to stand up from there. Similar to that way, if you break your Samaya, and then you have to confess on particular that guru that whom you break your Samaya, and then he can support you to purify those that which you lost already Samadha. That's Samaya. And also it is very interesting. Also mentioned that example, if you break the Samaya from particular great master, you have to confess in front of him. If he is not more exists on the earth, and then maybe his or her, if he is very high practitioner, if he has like a Dakini or his sons and daughters, and then still you can confess on front of them. And if there's no Dakini or his sons are still not there, and then also you can confess on his disciples. If his disciples are not exist anymore there, and still you can confess on his or her in front of their statues or front of the Tanka or whatsoever. That's also mentioned very clearly in the Tantrayana. Okay, so these are the we completed now the 5th chapter. Now I would like to begin from the 6th chapter, which is the view, practice, and conduct. This is also very important. Here in this 6th chapter, I also mentioned what is the view of Kagyupa, and what is the view, what is the action of Kagyupa lineage, and what is the one of the view. Okay, view, action, and practice. These 3 are very important. Those 3 things are mentioned here in the 6th chapter. So now I think we have to go. Oh, now time is very running, because my time was covered by this my cup, so I didn't see the time. So we have to, I think we have to go as our plan, because we already had a long holiday. For the 2 weeks we had holiday, so I think so now here said that the some Vajra statement, the first one is, some claim that the dharmas that appear without transmissions lineage and the earth teaching, Sacho, we call space teaching, Namcho, and the treasure teaching, Tercho, to be profound and amazing. This is very interesting. But there are many teachings in, especially I think those are existing in the Tibetan Buddhism or Vajrayana Buddhism. So Sacho, which is the Cho means Dharma, which the Dharma take from the earth. And then also the text which is taken from the space, maybe certain high Vajra master. And then also there are texts from Shingcho, means the wood, taken from wood. And then also the text which is taken from the water, Chucho. And then there are this kind of the texts that exist. And then also the treasury masters, they took from the treasure, we call it Tertumpa, there are many. So therefore some people think that, oh, these teachings are very profound. Again, same as I mentioned earlier, these teachings are very profound, because it's not, previous Buddhas never taught these teachings, and they never taught by many Indian, like Etimasidas, and then all the Tibetan masters, they never taught this teaching. This is so precious that only my teacher, he took from the certain mountain secret places, which is hidden by Guru Rinpoche. It could be hidden by Guru Rinpoche. I don't know. We don't know. I don't know. Maybe might of you have seen last days. There was. I just saw actually. There was just kind of like the fake video was going viral, that somebody just one kind of like yogi, maybe he just for maybe entertainment, might he just performed that. One yogi just went into the river and he's just taking out some kind of something from the water. I don't think that's a real one. So similar to that way, it could be a real one. It could be very difficult to trust on this kind of like the teachings of earth, teachings of wood, teachings of this kind of things are. It could be authentic, but it could be kind of made up by some just ordinary people. Therefore, Jiten, when he said that, he taught that the dharmas that is transmitted by the lineage is profound and marvelous. Without lineage, without transmissions, the teachings cannot be authentic. So therefore, in order to prove this dharma teachings are very authentic, it need to have certain lineage. Here again, I would like to say a very important one is He said that all the dharma should have transmission. Number one, and lung menga dangcheba means all the transmission must have pit instructions. Not just transmission, there's transmission which the guru received from the previous master that need to have combined with their experience pit instructions. Second one is all the transmissions consist with pit instructions. All these pit instructions must have lineage, very important. Without lineage, who knows that who make up, it's very difficult to say this is the authentic one. So therefore, all the pit instruction must have lineage. And then the fourth one is all the lineage one must have blessing. So there could be many teachings which has lineages, maybe the blessing is already lost. So therefore, the lineage also need to have the blessings. So therefore, it's very important. Transmissions, lung, pit instructions, lineage, and then blessings. These four are very important in the Tantrayana. All the dharmas, the teachings of the Tantrayana need to have these four things. So therefore, Jiten Samgon, he said that if their teachings has no lineage, no transmissions, then could be dangerous, could be wrong path, could be right path, could be authentic one, could be false one. Very difficult to say, very difficult to judge. So therefore, I very much like this is Jiten Samgon, the Gongchig teachings that which he mentioned. I mean, really, he never said that. Of course, it doesn't mean that he don't pay respect to all the gurus. Doesn't mean that he don't even trust on his guru, which is Pangudruba. Of course, he does. But then there are maybe many these things happening. And then, of course, there are many actually texts saying that this is the prophecy by Guru Rinpoche. I'm sure there are some texts which is real prophecy by Guru Rinpoche. But many of the prophecy of Guru Rinpoche is actually, I'm quite sure that some people they just wrote all these things will happen in the future. So therefore, if the teachings has no lineage, no transmissions, no blessing, and that is that. Okay. So now here the second one is the people claim that the manifold appearances are unconnected with the inner mind. Okay. So here the some people say that whatever we see, the external things exist as it is. Those are nothing connected with our own mind. Whatever external is there is there. Reason why I'm saying is that whatever you are experiencing, whatever you are seeing is seeing by you. If you are enjoying, and I'm not enjoying. If you are suffering because of certain cause and condition, you are suffering, not I'm not suffering. So therefore, the appearance are not connected with the mind. So things are there, exist as it is. Things that exist as it is nothing connected with our mind. That is what other people were saying. So, but Jiten Samgon says, all phenomena included in the samsara in nirvana are one minds. The samsara in nirvana are just like our own mind, just the manifestations of our mind. I think we already mentioned that the last time, because of the 6 different realms of like human being, animals, and God and demigod and Lord, those things, there are 6 different appearances of seeing the water. Remember that I already said that just for the water, because of the 6 realms of the beings are seeing or experiences differently. No one seeing exactly the same way. So whatever you like, I don't like. Whatever you see, I don't see. So therefore, it is everything is like our own mind. What do you call that? Fabricated by our mind, or mental reflection. We can say also like that. Here say also I would like to quote the Lanka Avatara Sutra. He said here, very nice quotation. thoughts and habits are confusion. To the people, they appear externally. That because of our thoughts and because of our habitual tendency, we appear externally because of this, our thoughts and habitual tendency. So therefore, you see, right from the beginning, some child, they like to kill small insects. Maybe previous life, he must kill lots of animals. Some people from the beginning, when their childhood time, they just like so much to the insects and many others animals. He or she must have been practiced as such a loving kindness. It exists right from the beginning. It's already exists on our mental continuum because of these habits. You know, the external appearances had no existence. You see, external appearances, whatever we see, form, taste, smell, whatsoever, are no existence. They are the mind that arises as the various object. Yeah, they are the mind that arises as the various object. It's just the mind reflected as a different object. The object is not exist externally as it is. So that's mentioned very the nice quotation that I like. Okay, now the next one is the Vajra statement. The third one is, people claim that the cause and result of samsara and nirvana connected over long periods of time. We always say that whatever we done in our previous life, we can see in this life. What will happen in our next life, we can see in this life. We do say like that, and sometimes we believe like that. So therefore, some people say that the result of samsara and nirvana are connected over a long period of time, not just only temporary. But Jiten Sumgon, he said that all phenomena are embodiment of the momentary thoughts. Everything are reflecting just now. Remember, we already talked about the 4 different types of karma, I think last long time. So one of the karma is that the karma that we experience within this life. Remember, whatever we accumulate merit, or maybe whatever we accumulate non-virtue, within this life, we will experience the karma. That is the kind of the karma of that which experience within this life. So therefore, Jiten Sumgon said that all phenomena are the embodiment of the momentary thoughts. Everything is manifesting from time to time momentarily. Is no need to wait for the previous time, no need to wait for the future life. Everything will be manifesting within the momentarily. So that is the one I mean to say. Okay, so actually my plans to be one more, but anyway, the time is now over. So I would like to conclude here. I hope all of you understand some of the Gongchig teachings, and very happy to see all of you again to the lesson, and then hope to see you again next Friday, our 10 lessons. So take care of all your health and stay safe, and hope to see you. To the Asian people, good night, and European I think it's good afternoon, and then some maybe for the USA people, good morning.
Thank you, Khenpo. Thank you, Khenpo. Good night, Khenpo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much,
Good
Khenpo.
night. Thank you.
That's
Good night.
Good night.
very good teaching. Bye-bye.
Thank you. See you.
Thank you, Khenpo.
Thank you.
Bye.
Brother and sister,
Hưng ơi.
next lesson will be next Friday.
Hưng ơi, Hưng báo với các bạn là có cái lễ trồng cây ở Bảo Tháp nhá. Em trao đổi rõ cho các bạn đi.